She's very agreeable. You got to give her that.
I told you, I can do whatever you tell me to do.
You're like water.
She's flowing. She's flowing.
My husband's always like, be careful, Jenna. You just can't be agreeable with everything.
It's so true.
Here we go.
Past the fire, past the sounds. Moonshine through the clouds. Saddle up, 'cause there's no stopping me now.
Hey, good day and welcome to another exciting episode of
Living well together.
Big Life in a Small Town. We've got some special energy in the room today.
We do. Really special energy. This is Jenna Cain.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You are a doctor of physical therapy and also a mindset coach.
Yes.
And fill us in on the other parts.
I mean, I think I'm a jack of all trades is what it comes down to. No, I'm just kidding. But the
That's
mindset,
okay, yeah.
I think the thing that sets me apart from physical therapists today
Yes.
is the mindset piece that I've added into my practice. And so I always tell people, they're like, well, what's mindset?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good question because it's kind of one of those woo-woo types of words. What
swept
is
under the rug.
mindset?
It's all the woo.
Yeah, it's all
right?
the woo.
It is all the woo. But mindset, the definition I like, and it comes from Enlifted. That's where I got my certification. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Mark England. He's the head teacher there. But the definition we like is a story that you tell yourself about yourself. And so that's the difference in like what I bring with helping my clients is because a lot of times they come in and they have shoulder pain, back pain, hip pain, whatever. But they're carrying a story about the pain.
Yeah.
Whether they know that or not, right? Or chronic pain patients. I mean, people that have been in chronic pain for, 10 plus years.
Right.
What is the story that they have going on about their body? Am I able to heal? Can I not? I'm always going to be like this.
Yeah.
People have it harder than me, or I have it harder than everybody else.
Yes, those are the stories. Do you think
This
some
is not
people
gonna
own
work.
the pain? They take ownership of the pain?
Oh, I think we identify.
Yeah.
Yep.
We identify.
Oh, we're going to get along so good.
Yeah. I love this, Dr. Terry. Yeah. So no, I do believe that we identify with the pain. We make it, we take ownership of it. Next thing we know, we're like, I am a cancer patient.
Right.
My
my
migraines.
cancer.
My is a powerful word. I think people dramatically underestimate the connection between how they think and how they feel. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me right now?
Have you ever heard? Okay, so tell me, what do you think of when I say the word abracadabra?
Magic.
Yeah, what do you think, Dr. Terry?
Same.
Yeah. It's Aramaic for with my words I create.
Huh?
And so do you know the definition of spelling? A spell? It's a word or
Casting
it's a
as
word or
in-
combination of words of great meaning.
Yeah.
So if we're constantly
Yeah.
saying, I'm never going to get better,
Right.
this is never going to work,
Oh, my
we're
heck.
casting spells on ourselves. When you think about, if you bring it to more religious point of view, it's like the power of life and death is in the tongue. Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, what do I do with that?
Right.
How do I shift that? Well, and I think I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was Paul Chek. Dr. Lieberman was on there, I believe. And if I'm quoting him wrong, we can fix it. But he said awareness is curative. And I was like, that's so good. It's so simple, right?
Yeah.
But awareness, like, well, how do you get to that awareness piece? Yeah. Well, we got to know, first of all, what's
my
running in
question
here.
would be, how do we get away from that awareness piece?
So
So
it's
be
built
less in
in.
the mind, you mean? Like,
Who's changed our mind is the question, I think, because it's all in there. Like they bring the problems with them to the shop. They also bring with them the solutions, and then kind of our job is to help uncover it. It was already there,
oh, it's always
but
there,
somebody's
right?
changed the programming somewhere, some way, somehow.
Oh, well, and that's the fun piece is getting into that. And that's what the mindset work does is because we get in there, it might start with, man, I really got this shoulder pain. It doesn't go away. Okay, let's talk about that shoulder pain. What would you, when did it happen? So we'll talk about maybe the injury story, right? And then we get into like, what's the feeling? What's the emotion that comes up? Does that remind you of anything? Right? And then they'll be like, well, it does remind me of when I was 15 and my mom said this to me. Whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Could be a million
Who
different
knows?
things,
They
right?
have all the
Yeah.
answers inside them. I don't have the answers. They have it. And so it's just literally we're like mining for gold. Because you're right. It's all in there.
It's all in there.
You just have to you have to ask the right questions. And I'm a clinician that I don't have all the answers, and I never come in that I know why you're in pain.
Your body is smarter than me. I just need to be smart enough to know that.
I just got to ask the right questions, and then that'll lead me, on some sort of like scavenger hunt. That's fun,
Right.
right?
Yes. It is like a treasure hunt. You're a facilitator and a guide.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
But
how.
let's
That's
talk about how you got there. You didn't. Nobody's born a facilitator and guide. Let's hear your story. How'd
Oh
you
my
get
gosh,
where you're
that's
at?
so fun. Yeah, this story. I'm like, oh man. Well,
Yeah. How did your story unfold?
Growing up where?
so I
Born?
grew up in Beavercreek. I'm actually
Okay.
from your office. I'm like 5 miles.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I grew up in Beavercreek. Went to Beavercreek High School. I played soccer. Went to college. Played like D1 soccer at Morehead State in Kentucky. Have you ever heard of it? Everyone's
Yes.
like, where is that
No,
place?
Nope.
Yeah, we've heard.
Yeah. Then I went to University of Dayton to PT school, and then, became a PT. Worked in all sorts of different places. More or less, I've done in the last 15 years pediatrics, and just recently, this past August, I left the schools and opened up my own
Yes.
studio that
Shop.
my husband rehabbed.
Oh,
garage.
I love that.
And I homeschool my kids. So total 180.
Yes.
But what led me to where I'm at is I got mono in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just set off a myriad of different events, from brain fog, neurological symptoms, weight gain. I mean, through college, I pushed through a lot of that because I was younger, and I just kind of
Do what
ignored,
you do. Especially as a D1 athlete, you've been trained to push through.
Yeah, it was always like, oh, you're having emotions. You need to go run.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, that hurts. Let's wrap it and let's keep going, right?
Yeah.
So that's just how I operated. It was like I just ignored everything that was going on in my body,
Right.
Because that's what I was pretty much
Taught.
programmed
Amen.
to do, right?
100% true.
And then I went to PT school. I got out of college, went to PT school, and I had put on 25 pounds. From being an athlete to
Yes.
putting on 25 pounds, you're like, and now I'm in PT school.
Yeah.
What is
How'd
happening?
you decide PT school, though, out of all the schools? How'd you decide
It was one
PT?
of those things where it was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I could be an athletic trainer. I like athletes. I like to move. I
Makes sense.
I wish it was deeper than that, but I was just like, well, it just kind of makes sense. I don't know what else I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Well, did you, and probably as a soccer player, you went through your own physical
Oh
therapy.
yeah, I feel like I was always constantly rehabbing.
It was part
right?
of you.
Yeah.
Your
It kind of felt like it fit, right?
Right.
Help me with the difference between being a PT and a DPT.
I wish I knew. Well, I mean,
No,
it's
'cause
like
that's a fairly
everything
new
else,
thing.
right?
But it's the 90s probably.
So
that
technically,
was
people can come see us without a script.
Oh,
okay.
But we have to send that script within a specific amount of days back to the doctor to be like, oh yeah, more for insurance purposes, right?
More
That's
of that
what it is.
programming. Yeah.
More money,
We'll
Dr. Terry.
100%. We'll cover more of that too.
That's the difference.
We're going to be good friends,
Probably
Jenna.
$35,000. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah.
I feel terrible saying that, but
No, you're not wrong.
No.
I just,
I mean,
I know
I-
there's some confusion about that. Not everybody knows that there is a DPT.
I
Yeah.
didn't know until I started reading.
I think
notes.
I believe I was the second class to come out with a DPT.
Right.
So that was
So you're Dr. Jenna.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I never go by that.
So DPT is DPT is Doctor of Physical Therapy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted our people to be kind of clear about that.
Yeah. Now I should sit like this now, shouldn't I?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you wear the elbow patches.
I should have
on your
worn like a
jacket.
suit today or
Smoking
something.
pipe. We're
But
all
so-
so important.
But so anyway, so basically, I ignored my body, kept pushing through, got, put weight on, would just throw down the caffeine because I was tired and lethargic. I had so much joint pain. My first year of PT school, I could not reach over to grab the seatbelt.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what happened? Everyone was like, "You're just too young. I don't understand why this is
This is
isn't
what
a
people are
problem."
saying to you.
Yeah. And then fast forward, okay, then I get stomach issues. I get diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I have shingles for 7 years.
Oh, my heck.
I'm like, what is
7 years.
and
You're
I-
92 years old, stuck in a
basically,
young body.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had 2 babies in that time too.
Yes, 2 babies. And yeah, so I was basically at a point where I went to everything. I've taken every supplement you can probably imagine. went to acupuncturists, functional medicine doctors. I don't even know how much money I've spent. And it wasn't until I came to the realization that, okay, your emotions and what's going on mentally can show up physically, right? Because I was just like physical. Okay, give me the supplement. Yep, let me put it in there.
Outside in. Everything comes from the
also
outside
you
in.
have the answer and I don't.
Right. Yeah. Help me.
Everyone
'cause I
else
don't
has
know.
the answer. Oh, you can tell me that. Oh, yeah, I'll do. Oh, you want to take that pill? I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
What
would
you got for me? Yeah.
exactly. Give it to me. Give it to me. Because but I also feel like it taught me a lot in this progression of my life because if I wouldn't have done all of those things, I wouldn't have the perspective that I have now. So I'm very grateful for the journey. Now, would I like it to be less for other people? Absolutely. Or for future generations, like my children,
Right.
to be able to tap into what their body's telling them and not be like, oh God, I have to go to the doctor. Something's wrong with me and I am not able to figure it out. You know what I mean? Obviously, we can partner with.
Sure. We need a
We need to
wellness
partner,
team, right?
Yes, absolutely. But I feel like that intuition, especially for women, and maybe you can speak to this too. I don't know how you were raised, but it was very much like someone else has the answers. You don't know what to do, and you need that person to tell you what to do.
So
Always.
for my mom was the opposite of that. Everything was, we can figure this out here unless it required surgery or broken bones, stitched up arms, something like that. But she was a wealth of knowledge.
That's amazing. You're very lucky.
I feel
you're very
blessed
lucky
by
because
that.
I don't feel like that is, at least for the women that I work with and the moms that I work with, that's not how they were.
It's not common at all. Yeah.
And the fact that the belief that your body can heal is not something that people believe very easily.
We have been led astray. Is it fair to say that we've been led astray?
I would always say we've been lied to.
Yes,
right?
yes, it is.
Lied to, yes, exactly. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And it's
Very well orchestrated.
It's very well orchestrated.
Big business.
And it's funny. So I'll be sitting with my kids and we'll watch TV and my little boy will be like, isn't this weird? It's just food, a drug, and then some sort of like material item, right? Like a car or something. Like it's constantly like, you need this. Oh, this can help.
We used to watch TV.
Oh, yes, constantly. But I think it's interesting as a 10-year-old boy,
Yes.
he can sit there and go, this is weird.
yeah.
We used to watch commercials two ways. Once we would have the kids, we would watch them with no volume. And the goal was, tell us what they're selling. And then the other way we would do it is close your eyes and listen to the commercial and tell us what's going on. What is the emotion they're evoking? What is the product that's being pushed? And it was a game because we didn't have cable TV. So there was automatically going to be commercials.
We had a lot of commercials.
If you had it on. But yeah, to understand how we're being, that's why they call them TV programs.
What's television? Where we're television.
Exactly.
Right? What's a channel?
This has been,
It's wild. Like when you
Yeah.
sit down and you look at the words, number one, right? The words
crazy.
are so powerful, but also when you sit and you act and you go, oh my gosh.
yeah.
I had no idea. That's what
And
I
this
talk
is
to my
what you
kids
should
about
buy,
that.
and this is how you should behave, and this is how you should respond, and this is why we pay athletes millions of dollars, and yet we can't raise enough money to educate our kids. We've been
A little bit bamboozled,
programmed.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I tell my kids too. We like to have those conversations, but again, how many people are being raised in that kind of environment where it's like, oh, close your eyes and like, what's the feeling? What does that produce? I was like, when I was younger, it's like, stop feeling. We gotta go. We have things to do. So to be able to, and that's the thing. I work with. Have you guys ever heard of Human Garage?
Body Garage?
It's funny because Body Garage.
I know Body Garage.
Yes.
Is Human Garage the one in California?
Yes.
Okay.
And they don't have a brick and mortar building anymore.
Oh, they don't?
But the guy, this is so funny because the Body Garage, when Jess, one of the guys there, told me that, I'm like, it sounds like Human Garage stole your name. He's like, actually, we kind of took our name from them.
Yes.
And, you know.
Oh, he's
just-
very honest about it.
The
I love them.
conversation was just really funny. So with the Human Garage, so I've kind of, their whole thing is about fascia. All right.
Okay.
So how intelligent the fascia is, and that if we can just move stress out of our body, if we can remineralize, if we can rehydrate from a cellular level,
Yes.
like the body can.
only good things can happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And then from my perspective, you add on, okay, what words, what are your thoughts? What are you writing? What do you what are you speaking out? You shift that around.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I helped them. I created the children's program with them.
Oh, nice.
And so we work with parents via Zoom or whatever. And we have like a 14-day program where we teach parents how to do like hands-on fascial work with their kids. And, just the basics of like, let's clean the chemicals out of their environment. Like, what are we putting on? What's around us? Giving them simple things to do to remineralize their kids, whatever. But my point is that we're bringing in a future generation that's going to know this stuff. Like, that's wild to me.
It's in such it's such a fulfilling way, right? A profound and fulfilling way.
Yeah.
Because it's been this huge gap, and now we're able to be the gap fillers.
Oh yeah. And do you feel, maybe Dr. Terry, you can speak to this. Do you feel like people are becoming more open to, because you guys have body code stuff here, and you're doing all this kind of like holistic woo, like maybe some woo-woo stuff, right?
For a lot of people feel like even just your adjustment is. It's like,
woo-woo.
how in the world can you adjust me here and my lower back feels better? To them, it's like abracadabra.
Right. Exactly.
I think that one of the blessings in the pandemic situation is that the curtain was pulled back a little bit on some of what's been perpetrated over decades.
Yep.
And so I think people are looking for better answers now. They understand that it doesn't always come in a pill or a potion or a white coat. And so while there was a ton of tragedy and a lot of evil being perpetrated through those 2 or 3 or 4 years, I think it has created a veil that's being moved back, where people are seeking things like you're describing and things like we've been doing for 35 years. And so if there's blessing in it, I think it's that. It's an awareness.
It is. It's wild.
Are you feeling the same way?
I do. I feel the shift. And I also believe that it's who I want to attract to me.
Amen.
Into
100%.
my clinic.
Yep.
Because in my studio, I should like, this is a clinic, but
I love that you call it a studio, though. That's so perfect. It sounds very intimate and
it's like you can have one bedroom, you can have one bed in there, and it's very intimate. But I think it's what people are open to now, and even like if they come in, like my mother-in-law, right? I've been with my husband for like 15, 16 years.
Okay.
She's never come to us for anything. Okay. Well, now she has hip problems, right? And it had to get to a certain place. She's like, fine, I'll come see you. So she came, my husband and I both worked on her. And then she was like, is this what you do all the time?
Did she say it with the same look on your?
Yeah. Yeah. Like almost disgusted, but also intrigued.
Yeah. But also like, wow.
Yeah. Like, is this what you do? And I was like,
But
this is
think
what we
of her
do.
generation.
Yes.
And where they're coming from.
Well, and also just being physically touched.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like that's a big thing that a lot of them don't allow.
Right.
They don't receive.
Nope. There's a force field up.
It is.
It's crazy.
You
It is
notice
so
that too, and like
100% of the time.
she's in her 70s.
Yeah.
And maybe my parents are more open to it because it's me, helping them.
Yes.
But wow, it is like just for her to like have that experience. I'm like, man, if we can just let people know it doesn't have to be like this. Life does not have to be like such a struggle.
Right.
Especially women, and women, moms that, the women that come see me, it's like within minutes, we were talking about this earlier, it's like the floodgates open.
Yeah.
And that to me is a sign that like we don't know how to process through these things. We don't feel safe enough within our own, environment to even share those emotions, those thoughts with people. Or we don't know how to process through them. That's the other step, right? Okay, so how do you work on your mindset? And to me, working on your mindset is just like you go to the gym and you work out, right? It's
It's you have to be intentional about it. It's not random. If you don't take charge of it, it will be taken charge of for you. Your thought life and your
absolutely. How many
mindset.
thoughts do you think we have? How many voices do you think we have in our head? I'm just interested. I don't have. There's
Mine
no
all have-
scientific evidence here. I'm just wondering.
Mine all have different accents.
That is true. He shares them with us sometimes.
I'm just saying because when people say, "Oh, that voice in your head," I'm like, "Which one?
Yeah. Is that the Scottish guy or the Jewish guy?
Is that the girl that's mad or like she loves people? Which one?
Yeah.
Which answer do you want? But I'm serious because I feel like you have to be intentional about it. So what does that mean? Like even today, before I came here, what do I want out of this podcast? Yes. What do I want to happen? Okay, I'm going to write this down. I want to feel, like I want to feel connected to Terry and Lisa. I want us to have a meaningful conversation that connects with their audience. And if it helps one person,
bingo.
We met my expectation, right? But like, how do you know if you're meeting goals if you don't know what they are?
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't establish a goal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what gets so many people in trouble is they just go through life hoping things don't go bad. They have no desire to necessarily do the work on what it is that makes them good. They know they don't want bad. And it's and you probably hear this with your people all day. They'll tell you a long list of what they don't want. But it's hard to say, here's what I actually want.
Do you follow that up with, okay, I've heard all the things you don't want. What do you want?
Right.
Well,
but also writing them. Okay. So like the practice of writing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then speaking it.
Yep.
And then guess what? Then you throw the breath in there, have them speak it again and breathe it. And then you know what happens? Their perception goes like this.
Yes.
And they're like, you know what?
Goosebumps.
You know what just came into my mind, my awareness? I had this thought about, who knows, right? It just opens up the whole picture.
Yes.
They're just like, okay, it's not just right here. And there's one option for this.
They've been so well trained to not do that.
We've never been taught. Did you get taught that in language class?
No.
Never.
No.
So with my
Nouns,
kids.
Well, we were told
verbs,
to sticks and
adjectives.
stones
Yeah.
breaks your bones, but words will never hurt you.
What? Is
Hello?
that wild?
That's
It's a lie.
That's a big lie.
It's 100% false.
Yeah.
Right. And then you
I
have
think
stories
I've
running in
read-
your head like, why did she call
Right.
me stupid? And then you just keep running that in. And then guess what? Then you show up in your life and you're like, I just don't want to be stupid.
Yeah. Which is very different than
that's
like,
a
I
different
want to be
goal.
super smart.
Yeah.
What I don't
Brilliant.
want is very different. How do I avoid this? It's like, and you can see, in any professional athletic endeavor, who wants to win versus who's trying to not lose. It's completely
Different energy, right?
Yeah, Rory almost gave it away last week at the Masters because he was just trying to not lose for a minute. And then he had to remember he's a winner, so let's get this putt in and be on our way.
And
And on
that
a
was
smaller,
so good.
And on a smaller level, we saw that on the lacrosse field the other night.
Oh my
with
heck,
with those boys, because they
Yeah.
were up by a whole bunch, and then the other team started coming back, and you could tell that they just wanted the win more than the good guys, our guys.
Yeah, they took
And
a
it's like,
spanking.
darn, how did that
And
happen?
like, how did you know they wanted it more?
You could just tell the energy
The
of
energy
feel
had
it.
shifted
Yes,
dramatically.
100%.
Right?
And so if people can tap into that, just like with Rory, you could see the shift. And if people realize that they can see a shift in themselves too, then they
Absolutely.
can own that same thing, whatever it is that their
like-
dreams are.
Whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like the law of attraction or like our abracadabra, right?
Yes.
Or spelling, whatever you want to say it is. If we could teach our children that at such a young age, what would the world look like?
It'd be a lot harder for control to take place.
Right? Like if you have
It would be a dramatically different
even
world.
with my kids, so I'll do language with them, and we played with negation words like shouldn't, couldn't, haven't, isn't, not, whatever, and I had them write a paragraph that included all those words.
Yeah.
So my little boy was like, he wrote something like, I shouldn't have to go to the store. I don't want to go. This isn't fair. I should be able to stay home because I haven't got to play enough of my video games, whatever. So so I had him read it, and I was like, oh, okay, what does that feel like when you hear that? And then, so we went through all those things. And I'm like, okay, now let's write it. I went through and asked questions like, okay, so if you don't want to go to the store, what do you want to do? Right? Okay, I'd like to stay home. Right? We just shifted all the words, reread it, and then he was like, that sounds like somebody that's, responsible and nice and positive. Yeah. I'm like, wow, weird.
Yes.
But like
Weird.
but a lot of times you have clients probably that come in and they say like, this is just never getting better. I'm never feeling good enough to do anything.
Yeah. It's wild,
gosh.
but you got to start with the program. You got to start with that mindset.
That's
And,
to me, that's the root, right?
Yeah.
It's the root. You fix that.
Yep.
The rest of this stuff will just fall in line. All of our awesome modalities that we have, they'll work so much better. Like I tell my clients, I don't want to see you forever. I do not want to see you forever.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the
Heal
things,
you up. Get out of here. Go live your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
do you have intake forms where people check off, here's my problem?
They have an intake form, yes, where they say like, okay, what are you seeing me for,
Check,
whatever.
check,
And
check,
I do
check, check.
I do a consultative, like free 30-minute call where I ask them questions. Where really we're like building
Yes.
like your goals,
100%.
right?
And we'll put a link to that, by the way. We'll make sure people have access to you that way.
Because then I can say, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so this is actually what you want.
Right. Well, and they'll have, in our world, they'll check off all the, here I have problems, problem. And then I'll say, is this it?
No,
And
we'll
like,
tell you
this
about the
is-
car accident.
Like, this is plenty, right? This is enough. But now name 3 things that are going right in your body. Tell me 3 things that are going right.
How difficult is that?
Dude, they got to stop, drop, and roll because they don't focus on what's right.
Yeah.
You know, is your heart still beating? Can you hear and see me now? Can you know, there's a million things happening that are going well. You got 13 things we want to get rid of maybe, but they're all connected. So it's kind of fun to introduce people to who they are versus who they think they are.
When you think about like affirmations, like people are big into affirmations. Oh, just tell yourself you're good.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. I don't disagree.
No,
with
I think
that,
we
but
do have to talk
you
positively.
say it 107 times and you still don't believe it. There's a reason.
Right.
There's a block
Right.
there for sure.
So it's like I like to tell clients like we clean up the house and then we'll throw the party. Right. Then
Oh, that's nice.
you know, we got to clean up all that
Right.
junk so
Yeah.
we can
We
actually
got company coming. We got to get this place cleaned up.
yeah.
basically, right? Because it is so hard for people to find positive things about themselves. So I was doing a workshop at a school in Xenia. So I was talking to the teachers, and it's been a 5-week long Friday sessions where we go through movement, like fascial work, breath work, and then we work on our language. And so I've curated it so it's like words that you say at work, right?
Yes.
But one of the sessions, we celebrated themselves. Okay, let's think about like the biggest win you've had this school year, right? Or and I will tell you, like it was the most difficult. Like I'm
To
like,
try to get them to figure it out.
Yeah.
To figure out
well,
what
just
was
to
the biggest win.
Well, and then for them to speak it out.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap! It was
Acknowledge
like, I shouldn't say this out loud.
Really? Can you give us for example, like what were one of the wins that they did have?
Well, so one of the wins was, I got this student to, follow, like they had a countdown system because that's the in Xenia, they have special needs. The preschool is considered a special needs program because it's more than 50% of the kids that need an IEP.
Wow.
So they're dealing with behaviors.
Okay.
Right? We have kids that are their nervous system's not regulated. And then you have teachers who like, you know how you feel when you're with someone that's dysregulated. You're like,
Yes.
okay. So my
easy
whole
to figure
thought
out.
process of coming in there was to either show them like, oh yeah, this is why I love teaching, or like, maybe I don't love this.
You might need a new job.
Yeah, right. And so one of the wins was just like, I got this child to transition. I didn't need it. I didn't need assistance from the floater aid, and it's because I did A, B, and C.
Oh, wow.
But we don't really reflect on the great things we do.
Yeah.
We don't really. I would say the majority of people don't celebrate themselves.
I would 100% agree.
And they just focus
And you
on
know
the
what?
things that
We can
didn't
be
go
guilty
right.
of
Especially women, right?
Yes.
Like we can come up with all sorts of things we want to change about ourselves that
Yeah.
are not quite good enough yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Versus celebrating what we do love about ourselves. Because
Yes.
God forbid we look like we're a little bit too confident.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So we're constantly
down a notch.
Yeah. Right? And so
We are so weird. People are weird. Want to goof stuff up? Just include more people. We'll wreck everything.
He loves to say that. People mess up. People mess up
it's
everything.
wild, right?
It is crazy.
We can really make a mess out of stuff
Out of
very
stuff.
quickly.
Amen. And it should be like mess free. It could be a mess free zone, but it's not.
Well, my daughter and she was talking about,
Is your daughter older?
she's 12. Well,
She's
she's
12.
11, but
She's
she wants to
11.
be referred to as 12 because her birthday's in like,
She identifies as 12.
yeah, she identifies as 12 because her birthday's in like 10 days.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's all right.
That's what I
close
tell
enough.
people. I think
Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah, she identifies as 12. But let's say she'll talk about somebody that she has no idea who they are. And she's like, something has to be, there's got to be something going on there. Why? You know, like, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Right.
This sounds like a story you're like
Yeah.
just making up and you're running and you're taking off with.
Yeah.
And so this language work and the mindset work I feel like is so powerful because if you can really get into that to the younger generations
Yes.
and teach them like let's think about your thinking and figure out and ask some good questions and figure out like is that true? Is
Yeah.
that not true? Like is this necessary? Do I need to spend time on this?
Right.
One of my favorites is how do you know? How do you know when somebody says something that they just automatically burp out? Really, how do you know that's true? How do you know? and then they have to think it through. It's an interesting thing because we just repeat on like a loop.
Oh,
Whether it's politics or religion or family static or what. So how do you know?
exactly. Well, and there's a lot of things. I had to stop listening to podcasts for a while because I was like, are these my thoughts or are these somebody else's thoughts?
Yeah.
That's true too. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure anymore.
It's a compilation, really, isn't it?
Podcasts
for all
or
of us,
social
it is.
media or news or any of those things. Yes.
You got to watch out for people who podcast. You got to watch them.
Hello.
No, I don't think so at all. But you know what I'm saying? It's like the same thing with like reading and, you know, like how many books are you taking in? And then like, is this true for you? Or are you just repeating what you read?
Right.
Have you experienced that? Like what do you have to back that up?
So Jenna, how do you figure it out for you? Do you journal?
Yes.
Yes.
I will tell you that has changed my life.
Yes.
It's literally changed my life because it's grounded me, you know, because I like to float around. I can create all sorts of things in my mind.
Yeah.
But that's grounded me for sure. And really looking at what, like not just journaling, right? But then going, because, you know, a lot of people will journal and they just shut it and then they put it away. But like looking at my words, reading them out loud, asking myself, okay, what does this mean about me? What kind of emotion am I feeling right now? When's the last time I felt this? You know, is this reminding me of something? Because we tend to show up in these patterns. And if you can't become aware of those patterns without some sort of practice, right? So that's the basic thing that I do. And I would say through my journey, the things that changed very quickly were lymphatic work. Which again,
Move that out of
when
the-
I saw you on Instagram the other day, I was like, when you were like, sometimes it's the simple things. Yes. And sometimes not sometimes, all the time I tell my clients, like, here's what I want you to do. Yeah. You know, this is like you can do this in bed. You don't even have to get dressed. You're just like, we're going to do some lymphatic rubs. We're going to, you know, whether we're reading affirmations that we co-created together through their stories, just read those in the morning.
Yeah.
And then the fascial work I love because it's all about moving stress out of the body. So breathing and moving your body intentionally. Those are the things that changed my life.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah. That's simple.
That's simple.
But if somebody doesn't know about those things, then even the simple things obviously can't work for them.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more aware and keep continuing to search, right?
Absolutely. And I would say even, so going back to like lymphatic work or bringing the body out of stress, you can give them the best. You guys have fantastic supplements out there. I love Symbiotica. I have Queen of Thrones. I love all those things, right? But if your lymphatic system's backed up,
I was going to say, if you're putting...
you can put all this stuff. It's like you have the drains backed up, right? And you just kind of like scrape out the stuff at the top so it looks like it's going down.
Yeah.
And then you pour more stuff and you're like, oh wait, nothing's getting absorbed. So that's why I like adding the lymphatic piece in there because it makes every other modality work better.
Yeah. So you're a rebounder too? Do you like a mini tramp?
I have one of those vibration plates.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing. Those are nice too. I actually was just looking at one of those. I'm like, no, you need to do the rebounder.
I like those. I mean, walking.
And walking too.
Right?
Yes.
Movement is king.
It is.
As soon as you quit moving, they're going to cover you up with dirt.
When I always say like the 3 pillars, if I made it as simple as possible, I'd say words, movement, breath.
Words, movement, breath.
Words,
Okay.
movement, breath.
Yeah.
And then
words are going to get you moving for sure.
Well, our emotion, right, is
Yep.
like puts us in motion. We have to have a desire to move first.
Yeah.
Our desires are driving our movement. What are we moving towards? That depends, right,
Yeah.
on the person. But then the breath, I mean, so many people, and I'm sure you've seen this on podcasts. Like I could be sitting here like this and we could be talking and it's just so great, right?
right
Don't you feel the
here.
energy, right? Versus like, if you can like
Right.
get into a deep breath, it's a different energy. But a lot of people are living here,
Yep.
right? And then we keep putting stimulants in us, right? That just keep us like on high alert all
Wait
the
a
time.
minute. You say that like there's something bad about it.
Listen, I love coffee. So anybody who listens to this podcast can
Terry's
be like,
drinking
Jenna,
coffee
you drink
right now for
coffee.
those
I
that-
drink coffee too. I didn't before this because I didn't want
never
to
say
overwhelm
anything
you
bad
guys
about
too
coffee.
much.
There's mixed,
But
there's
also
mixed
coffee,
reviews as far
right?
as-
Like,
Yes.
I'm sure you guys already know this. Coffee can have a large amount of mold in
Mold,
it that
for
can
sure.
cause nervous system
Not all
issues.
coffee is
So
created
being
equally, for
careful
sure.
about what you choose.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
And we
I think that's
operate in the
same
good,
thing.
better, best model.
Absolutely.
You know, some things are good, some things are better, and some things are best. And sometimes you have access to all three. It's about choices. Sometimes you only have access to good. You
Right.
just got to do what
and
you
you
can.
do the best you can. But also being very careful about not going into that orthorexia state of being obsessed about our choices and our wellness.
We live by the 80-20 rule too.
And
80% of
because
the time we do it
otherwise
right.
that becomes toxic too. If we become so obsessed with making the right choice or the perfect choice, whether it's exercise or food or supplements, then that's
The paralysis of analysis.
Well, I just read a study. It was like from, I think it was from 2011, and it was talking about how they had people drink a milkshake, right? And so the milkshake, I think it was like 380 calories, but they would tell you it's 180, and they tell you it's 690 calories.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
So then they measured the, how am I going to say this wrong? The ghrelin, right? The hunger hormone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did I say
I
that
call
right?
it growling.
It kind of looks like a gremlin. That's
It
what I
does.
wanted to say, but I was
Yes.
like, that's not the right word.
But
I'm going to get
you
kicked
got
off
it.
the
Yes.
podcast.
Yeah.
But
No.
So then they measured the levels of that, right? So with the people that thought it was 680, the ghrelin levels dropped. So basically it was like, oh, you got a lot of calories. You don't need it. You're full. Which that 180, it went up.
Okay.
Interesting.
So it's like they didn't think it was enough. Okay. So then if what we think and what we feel affect our physiology, that's a perfect example of that,
100%.
right?
Example. Yes.
So I always say like, a happy donut's better than a sad salad. I think I heard that from
I love that.
Tommy John.
Okay.
He's out in California, but he was on, that was like back in like, I don't know, 2020 or something like that. But I was like, that's amazing.
I'll take a happy donut every day.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you think
This
about like,
cheeseburger is making me so thin right now.
I mean,
Why not?
These are the
when you
thinnest
talk about like good,
fries I
better,
have ever
best,
had.
right?
Right.
Sometimes you don't have so what are you going to do? Are you going to eat it and shame yourself? Or are you going to be like, I'm going to enjoy this because,
I can.
because I can. And I have control over my physiology when I have these thoughts running. So again, the words.
Something that happened through lockdowns and COVID and the COVID vaccine situation. And I had a lot of clients that were forced to do these vaccines, and I'm like, and they were terrified. And I'm like, if you have to do it, and there's no other way around it, then you need to think of this COVID vaccine as giving you superpowers.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
if you think of it as what's going to kill you, guess what? It's going to kill you. But if you think of it as something that's going to add blessings to your life, then
Absolutely.
it's going to make a difference.
And your body can heal from anything.
Right. Yeah.
So like sometimes when people, especially if I see moms that are like, oh, I did this with my kid, or I, got them this, and they start feeling all that like shame and guilt. It's like, we need to let that go.
Yeah.
And what do we believe?
Right.
Right. And really get into what do we believe, because that is really what's driving the boat. And I feel like that part of us has just been extracted.
We've been taught to not feel. If you're feeling bad, take this. If you're feeling bad, take this. If you have pain, take this. If you're upset, take this. If your stomach's upset, take this.
Yeah.
So we've been taught to not process it and short circuit it with usually some kind of chemical compound. And then we're mystified. This is the other side of that I think is hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but sad. When your daughter's 15 and her boyfriend breaks up with her and she feels bad, she'll reach for something to change the way she's feels. And we think that's bad somehow when we've programmed them to do it. Feel bad, take this. Feel bad, take this. And then when they do, we are mystified. She's always been such a good girl. I don't know why she reached for that. Well, we taught them how.
Yep.
And it starts from birth. That they're defective, that they're somehow not capable. And it's maddening.
Well, and they see that with their parents, right?
Oh,
So that's
yes.
why in like the Human Garage program that I run, we always tell the moms, you have to work on you first. We want you to go through
Leadership by example.
because a lot of times the moms change their physiology. Guess what? The kids just automatically improve.
Yep.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, not to you guys,
But
but to the average person, that's like, wait, how does that make sense?
If mama ain't happy,
Nobody's happy, right?
that's how the house runs.
Jenna, take us back to your story. We talked about that you had shingles
Yes.
for 7 years.
Yes.
Got diagnosed with Crohn's. Pick us up from there.
Yeah. So, so that just led me on that wild goose chase of trying
Yes.
to find the
Figure
right
it
answer.
out. Yeah.
And it wasn't honestly the body grudge, since we were talking about
Yes.
that. There was one night where my husband was like, I don't know how to help you. And I was like, well, I mean, I've been trying to help myself. I don't really know what to do. So that was at the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to, again, search outside myself to find something. But I was on a walk and I was like, there's got to be somebody out there that can help just guide me. Something, somebody, like, I was like, God, I surrender. Whatever I need to do, whoever I need to talk to, whatever I need to learn, I'm here for it. And it was literally, okay, so that night I got on, Body Garage came up. I've never heard of it. Went there, worked with Jess. He does like that. I don't know what it is. They put the little, you talk into the mic and then they put the thing on your fingers, or I don't know what it is. It's like a...
It's been a minute since we've been down. I haven't been down there.
I mean,
that's a new modality, but I know what you're talking about. It is biofeedback.
Biofeedback.
Yeah, I bet it's like, yes. Yeah. So he was just asking me questions and I was very uncomfortable. Yeah. I was
Was Leah there too?
Yes. I
okay,
I mean, not uncomfortable. Like, I was just like, why is he like, he's like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you feel, why? I'm like,
So he was digging.
Yes. But I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like
Yeah.
not what I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
So long story short, he opened my eyes up to not only lymphatics, the human garage, the emotional components of things. And he like, and I just told him this. I was just there maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, my entire life just like opened up.
Yeah.
Because he's like, get this app, try this. And I just did, wow. Oh, you should look into this guy. Okay. Oh, you should read this book. All right. Mm-hmm. And that's literally for 3 years, now 3 years I haven't had shingles.
Yeah.
I have no stomach problems. I can complete, a thought.
Yeah.
Thank God. Right.
Yeah. Well, especially because you have a purpose and a passion here on this planet that God has put in you, and to have that clarity of thought so you can help other people is really important.
Well, because when you have any, I don't know if you've ever had brain fog, but it's not fun.
No, it's not fun.
Because you're like, I know I
What's
think
that
I know
word
what I want to
again?
say. Yeah. Wait, hold on. What were we talking about? Thank God I worked with children, because they didn't.
They get that.
Yeah.
That's why
They
they
don't
are all
want
the
to talk.
time.
They just want to play. So that worked out very well for me for quite a period of time. But yeah, so that's basically what led me where I'm at. I've done a lot of work with Human Garage, like I said before, and Lifted. I like to just tell people about who the people that have helped me.
Yes.
Right.
But the Enlifted Mindset certification, Mark England has just been such a blessing to me, and teaching me how to not only uncover like the stories that I'm telling myself, but lead my clients into that, because I felt like for such a long time, these people would come to me and I'm like, I have no idea what to do with this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, you're okay. Yeah.
That's not helpful.
No, but giving them tools, and this is
Yes.
providing them the tools. And
That's not helpful.
Yeah, I'm like, that's really not helpful. Like, they're just like, they're not dogs.
They don't
like,
need
just-
empathy. They need tools.
But
Yes.
they need tools, but they do need to feel loved and heard.
Right.
And I know that without a shadow of a doubt that you provided that way before you ever learned these other tools
Thank
to
you
share.
for that. Yeah.
And so that in itself is very healing for people.
Yeah, it
And
is.
being compassionate and letting them know, because they talk to people all the time that they don't give them the opportunity to talk it through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, that's why I love the mindset work so much, because it is such a different piece, especially when you, like, for physical therapy, and I'm sure for chiropractic care, like, there's not a lot of people that spend time with that.
Yeah.
And that's a missing piece. I feel like that's a main pillar that really needs to be addressed in order to have that full, complete healing.
Right.
Or healing, whatever. We're up leveling.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
Something close
Whatever
to
you want to call it.
restoration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Restoration. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I got where I got. But then I was in a student loan forgiveness program. So I was with Xenia Schools for, I think, like 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
And I always say that, but I've been back there this year doing professional development for the teachers.
Oh, wow.
And,
Nice.
and the aides. And
Because
so it's
you
like,
want to, not because you have to.
oh my gosh, no, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is all the things I've ever wanted to do, is to teach them about the kids' nervous system and like the easy, simple ways to like integrate movement into the day, but not only for the kids, but for themselves, but then to understand like, hey, you guys want these kids to perform at this academic level.
Right.
They don't have the foundation there. So like, they might know what 2 + 2 is today. And then tomorrow you're like, why don't you know that?
Right.
We've talked.
Is it so just they're just memorizing, but they're not actually learning the concepts.
And they're not. It's like, okay, so you guys probably love the nervous system, right?
Love the nervous
That's our
system.
bag.
That's your.
That's
I
what
mean, you have
separates
to.
live people from dead people.
You're doing stuff with the spine, so I know you love
Yeah,
it.
we measure it actually. We use surface EMG and thermal scanning and heart rate variability,
I love
all
that.
that to watch what the nerve system
Do
is
you guys
doing.
see a lot of kids?
Yes.
Yes, and
No, they do see a lot of
Well,
families.
Well, we talked a minute ago about ideal clients. We can come back to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, children, the fun part about kids is they don't have a big, long programming yet.
They don't have the limiting beliefs,
They unlock
right?
pretty
They're just
fast.
like,
Yeah.
Same with animals. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and so I teach the whole professional development was talking about, like, I described the nervous system as like a GPS map, and it just has a bunch of fog over it. And you're saying like, hey, Tommy, I want you to go from point A to point B. And Tommy's like, well, this is the most direct route, right, from our perspective. But Tommy's like, I have no idea where I'm going.
Because of the fog over it?
I was going to say, if there's fog there, Tommy may not even see the tree.
Yeah, so what's the fog, right? Stress, chemicals,
Toxicity,
Maybe we don't have enough minerals. Maybe we're demineralized, right? Well, how would that happen, right? Our cells have no energy. But, then you think about, and I'm sure you don't know this, the primitive reflex integration. So what can we do to help Tommy, like, hold the pencil better, or like make his letters in a certain direction, or like read left to right? We can do these different movement patterns that help, integrate those reflexes so that things just become easy.
Blow out some of the fog.
Yeah, we're just clearing out some of the fog.
Right.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, we're addressing those IEP goals,
Yes.
because you're not going to get him to do B or C or D over here if he can't figure out where A or B is at.
Yes. Yeah.
When we get those going.
Foundational things.
And
it
it
is amazing.
Helps
And
with speech, PT, and OT.
100%.
And obviously academics, social, emotional. A lot of these kids have social, emotional issues because they're full of chemicals and stress, and they can't figure out, they're asked to sit.
And mind. Yeah.
Kids are not built for,
No.
even remotely. You homeschool your kids.
Yeah. I just started that this past August because my student loans were paid off, and I was like, you know what?
Hello.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, good for you. And you're a small town girl. This is a small town situation, right? So you grew up
I grew
in
up here,
Beavercreek,
yeah.
and you're back in Beavercreek. Never left. Well,
I
for school.
left for, I'll count 4 years, right? In
Okay.
Kentucky. It wasn't that far. But yeah.
No, but that was still a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my husband, he grew up here. We went to high school together. And so we've just, I love when people say, like, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. I'm always like, start in your town.
Your community. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't care if people in California know who I am, but if you can make a difference in your own town, like what an impact, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's always entertaining not entertaining. I shouldn't say entertaining. People say they're going to leave this location and go to that location to make it a better place. Sometimes they'll call that, like when churches do that, they'll say we're going to go do mission work, or chiropractic people do that too. We're going to Yugoslavia for mission work, and I'm like, dude, your town needs you more than you realize. Your town needs you. When I first got into practice, I had a map of the U.S. and I wanted people from every state coming to me because I did want to be that celebrity. So I had a global map, I had a U.S. map, and I had an Ohio map.
Yes.
This is in Doc's old office.
Yes, I remember this
And
now.
I would put push pins in that map as soon as I,
People
and then I
from
took
other
the other
places.
maps away, and I left the Ohio map, and I drew a 60-mile radius around that pin from where I lived. And that has been my focus now for the last 23 years or something.
What does that feel like, though, when you visually see that?
Oh, it's magic.
It is, right?
It's magic. Because I know I'm making my town a better place. If I sit over here in front of Kroger's and I see 50 people coming out of there that I don't take care of, I'm wondering who is, because somebody should be. Right? And so this is what I like about the work and the things that you're describing. You're here to make a dent, and you're making a dent. I can see that, obviously. And in your local communities where it should start. And then it radiates out from that. And every teacher that you help is now more available to help these kids, her own spouse. I mean, it just is this ripple effect that everybody underestimates the size and the value
I don't think
of.
we think about it.
We don't.
It's because
Everybody's in
a
it
lot
for
of times it's
themselves
just,
so much of the time.
It's so self-focused, right?
It's fear, it's anxiety.
And also,
it's-
like, if I show up and I say, share my gifts, what are people going to think about me?
Right.
What, because I can get it. Like, I'm a little woo sometimes, and I'm okay with that.
100%.
Yeah.
As long as you know who you are, everybody else is
And even the language work, sometimes I downplay that. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just on paper. When I'm going through, I'm like, oh, this is just so simple. And then you end up with 5 people in tears talking about their wins. And you're like, this isn't simple.
Yeah.
Right.
People need this,
100% true.
Yeah,
So good.
absolutely. Then in 2022, you became symptom-free.
Yes.
Yes.
And you know what? That happened within like 60 days.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yes.
Like
So 60
my husband was like, "What are you doing?"
Who are you and what are you doing with my wife?
And he's like, "Why aren't you flying off the handle?"
Yeah.
You know, because when you're stressed, you can get
Short
You're
fuse.
right there all the time.
What's sympathetic dominance? All the time.
Yeah.
all the time.
Which means you can't heal in sympathetic dominance either.
Yeah. So then I just kept going, And then, once I felt like once my body came out of stress, it was almost like there was a veil that was lifted from my eyes. And I was like, I could see the possibilities. And then I started writing things down. This is the wild part, you guys, because I have journals upon journals of like just writing out goals or stories about what do I want to attract into my life. Yeah. And then those things just started coming, and it's like, okay, why has no one told me that we have this power within us? Yeah. Because I feel like you go to church. I mean, I don't know if you guys if you go to church or not, or what you believe. But if you believe in a higher power, then it's like, oh yeah, this you have the spirit that lives in you, and then God's on your side, and all you have to do is ask, and you shall receive, and all these things. And it's like, but do we really believe it?
No, I think most people do not believe it.
We don't think we're good enough to even ask for anything. God
if you're going to pray for rain and you show up without your umbrella, we're going to question your belief system.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's basically like what I stepped into. And now I'm like, I can't go back and I can't not share this with people because to live, I never thought it'd be, I didn't think a life like this would be possible. Like if everyone could feel like this, like suicide rates would go down.
Yes.
Depression would go down. That
Joy would go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like what are the possibilities? Which I feel like they're endless.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely feel that way too. Okay, so when did you decide that you needed to incorporate this into your practice then? Was it around 2022 at the same time, or were they kind of layered on?
Okay, so where are we? 2025.
Yes.
So in 2023 is when I started helping Human Garage create the children's program. And then and all of that time is voluntary, which at the time I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm working 4 days a week. I'm on these calls. I'm answering messages. Like I'm just constantly doing like, what is happening? Like, but it just felt so good that I was like, this doesn't make sense to anybody else to do all this work without getting paid. And I don't care, But that went on for a year. I think the children's program has been out online now for over a year.
Okay.
And so as we were working through these different things, I would be on Zoom calls with moms and I'd be like, they would say have certain challenges. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to work through this. Yeah. I need another tool. And then, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm a podcast junkie. So then I hear Mark England from Enlifted on Paul Check, and he was talking about the words and the breath. And I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Because, stuff on podcasts comes up all the time.
Sure.
But
you don't always
but it
connect
doesn't,
to it.
And I don't resonate with a whole lot. So when I do, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. So it wasn't until I found that I put it all together. So now it's been like maybe a year and a half of doing that.
Okay. Yeah. And so when you're
I love it every single time. It never gets old. Or it hasn't got old. And I don't know how it could get old.
No, because when you're helping people, I mean, there's just so much of a gift that you receive in that.
Yeah.
What does it look like for a client to start with you? Like when they come to you for your first appointment, you said that you have your little clarity conversation first, but then after that, like where do you take them?
Yeah, on the clarity call, it just depends on what they're coming to see me for, right? So it could be anything from a gastric tear, or like I've just had chronic fatigue and no one can help me. Yeah. Or I have a lot of stuff going on up here and I just want to use you for mindset calls. So we just decide on that call, okay, what's the best plan for you?
Okay. Yep.
But I just recently changed this to, because people are like, what is mindset?
Yeah.
What is a mindset call? I don't want to do that.
Right. It sounds like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like I might get a little uncomfortable.
Is there a pill for that?
Yeah. So I've included that to be like, at least one of those calls has to take place with anything that you do with me, because it is so powerful. Yeah. And I do feel like sometimes people just have to have, they have to have a dose of it. That's the pill I give them. Yeah. You get one dose of the mindset pill and you decide if you want to keep taking
you
it.
Spit it out or you keep taking it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
what I should call it, the mindset pill. How many do you want? Do you want 10? Or just want one?
One to start with.
Yeah.
I'm sure most people would think that.
They're cherry
because it does
flavored.
sound like work. Yeah.
Oh, and I just had a client that she did 4 months with me, and she's like, I need these mindset calls she's like, I want 2 every month.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And so I'm
she
like,
did
okay.
realize.
Oh, she
how
loved
important
it.
is.
And she's a younger girl.
Okay.
Which I love.
And
Yes.
so that's a cool thing too, I think, because people assume I'm fixed. I'm fixed and I don't need to do anything. Wouldn't it be nice if you could work out like twice a year, just stay in killer shape?
That's what I tell
once a
everybody.
year,
I'm like,
maybe.
you work out your body every day.
And so mind, spirit, food. I mean, when you're going to quit eating, you can stop taking care of yourself. And if you're not going to quit eating, let's talk about like how you're going to manage the rest of your life. How old do you plan on getting, and how well do you want to be when you arrive?
Yep.
That's a fair question. But everybody thinks that they're willing to spend money and resources and energy on things that are like not going to last very long. And the body they're living in is going to last as long as they keep care of it. It's a weird thing, the way we've been led to believe health can be managed.
Oh, yeah.
Or lack of.
And again, I feel like with the mindset stuff, you don't really see anything.
You're not leaving with something in a bag. It's not a product that you're taking home.
And no one can really see it, So then it's like, okay, well, how do I work this out? And so that's what I love to give my clients is those tools. Because anytime we get off a call, there's always a tool that they're leaving with, like, hey, this is what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
Whether it's like you want to pass your PT exam or you want to have a better relationship with your husband or your wife. And like, what does that look like?
Right.
Like actual functional things that they can do. And a lot of times it's well, not a lot of times, the majority, all the time, it's that person that needs to shift.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
So
not
they always want to talk about
He's a
somebody
big
else. I'm like,
idiot.
no, I don't care
Right.
about him.
Yeah, that guy's
Let's
a big
think
fat
about what
idiot.
you want. Well, because that's a lot. Our fingers, like, the whole thing. You're pointing
Sure.
this way. There's one pointing back or whatever. I don't know. But
3 pointing back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
3
That's
pointing
right.
back.
I was like, how many? This is a guy.
Yeah, you can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. You could do this.
But then they're all 4 pointing back.
Yes.
Yeah, all 5.
But a lot of people come and they want to talk about every other person in their life.
Yep. All the idiocy.
You can't change anybody else.
Yeah.
Amen.
You can change how you
People are so funny.
Yeah. Isn't it wild though?
If you were like an alien from another planet, you would be sure that people are not the superior beings on this one. Like squirrels manage their worlds better than we do.
Feels that way sometimes.
They don't worry. They don't cry.
Just go get their nuts, store them up, chase
Plan
each
for the
other
future.
around,
Yeah.
have a
I
good
don't know.
time.
It's a weird time.
When I feel like we could learn a lot just from like sitting outside and just watching nature.
Yes, watching
Right.
nature. And that's another
true.
healing thing too. Do you incorporate that in with your clients as well?
I mean, I always
Yeah,
tell them, sunlight,
Yes.
get in the grass, get in the dirt. Because we really don't do, and we don't do enough of that. And my kids play soccer. Okay. So
Yeah.
they just got back into spring soccer. And these kids are coming out there. They look like they might have been drinking before they came. Just kidding. They weren't. But I'm just saying the balance,
Right.
the balance is off. And I'm like, have you guys seen grass before and unstable surfaces? The
And
sunlight.
this is like 10 and 12-year-olds?
Yes.
Whoa.
Falling down. My mom and my husband can account for this. We were like, what is actually going on?
So do you
Like,
think it's just that they were in hibernation for
I
too
think
long?
kids are just like,
Yep.
like I think they're sitting on the couch. I think they're very
They're eating trash,
Oh, yeah.
drinking trash. Yeah.
And then just,
And then we need snacks after every practice and game.
And it needs to be full of food coloring and
Yeah.
fake sugar.
do you bring
please.
the snacks to,
Well, we all take a turn, and then we bring like grapes and
Yeah, so your
carrots.
kids are the weirdos who bring
Yeah.
real food.
Yeah, we are. And I'm like, you know what?
We
One
raised a
day they're
couple
going to
of
look back.
weirdos, too.
They're going to look back and be like, those people had it right. But
that is true.
it is. It's wild to watch, like the youth.
yeah.
Or like the kids that come to watch their siblings, right? And they have everyone's got their iPad.
Right.
Yeah. They're not really watching. They're just there because they have
They're
to
all
be.
like this. I mean, I guess that's like
It's
enough
a thing.
patience for us, right?
Yeah.
For the rest of our natural lives, we'll never catch up.
All their sore necks.
But with my son, we'll do lots of visual and vestibular resets, and he'll say, "Mom, this is like cheating, isn't it?" I'm like, "No, it's not cheating.
It's called using what you got to your advantage.
Yes.
Because he feels so much better.
Yes, because we'll even, with kids, they need that feedback quickly. So we'll like shoot baskets without warming up.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'll just say like, okay, let's see how many we can make. Let's do 20.
Yeah.
So he may make 3. Then we'll do like a visual reset, vestibular reset. He'll make 12.
Wow. So tell us what that reset looks like.
So, and I'm sure you guys probably do this with your clients as well. But like, I'll just have them hold their thumbs out, right? And they're gonna keep their head still, follow the thumb back and forth 8 times. We'll go out at 90 degrees, go down here at 45. But the best thing you can do is to test single leg stance before they start.
Single leg, okay.
Right.
Can I balance on one foot?
Stand on one foot. Do one side.
Yeah.
See if it gets worse, better, whatever. Do the other side, and then. Like for vestibular, I'll have them hold 12 inches away.
Yeah.
So then their head's still, and then they're just keeping their eyes on their thumbs. We're going this way, that way, back, down, whatever, all the different directions. I did that with my mother-in-law.
Oh, wow.
She couldn't stand on her foot for 3 seconds. We got done with everything. She went back. She could stand for 45 seconds on that leg.
Oh my gosh,
So
that
to
is
me,
a huge win.
Well, I feel like you guys probably do that too. You have to
Similar
have
stuff. You've got to have a
You have
baseline.
to have that baseline, but they also have to have the buy-in. Like,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
changed.
Right.
That changed. Okay, I will do what Dr. Terry tells me to do.
Yeah.
Because he might know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's a chucklehead. Don't pay attention to
But
what
you
he-
have to do that. But you do that with kids, and they're like, "Oh, I can be I can hit the ball that far. I can make that many baskets." Like Reese will say to me, we play pickleball, and he's like, you did your warm-ups before, that's why you beat me. So like he has made the connection that, okay, this works at like that, 7, 8 years old.
Right.
So now,
And so now does he do that on his own?
Oh, yeah.
He chooses,
he's like, Mom, let's go warm up.
Does he show his friends?
You know what? He did on his basketball team. He shows his cousin. He gets upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
He gets upset when he hears other people say like, "Oh, this team's better than us.
Oh, wow.
We're not gonna." He's like, "You can't say that." He's like, "Don't say that stuff. Like,
Yes.
we're gonna win. We're
Cancel,
good enough."
cancel.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yes. XXX.
So he is hearing it.
Yes.
But we do lots of reps with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This is awesome.
So smart, Jenna.
It'll be just fun to watch people connect to you after this episode.
Thank you for
hits the
having me on
airwaves.
here. I
It's
love
gonna
this.
Be super fun.
I wanted to do just a quick rapid fire. What's your favorite drink?
Oh. I mean, I love coffee.
You
So,
love coffee,
yes,
but
I do
on
love
here you
coffee.
said warm cacao.
Yeah. Well, and I like warm cacao too. With like some like vanilla creamer.
Homemade creamer?
Yes.
Tell us how you make that.
Well, my husband usually makes it.
Oh, does he? Okay. So is it like
It's like
the condensed milk?
Honey, cream comes from a cacao, not a pig. You
My
can't
husband
get
usually
milk
makes it.
from a.
And I'd have to get the recipe from him, but I like that. I still like something sweet.
Yes, I do
Yes.
too.
Warm
That's
and-
what
warm
I'm
and a
very
little
much
bit of
connected
sweet.
with
Yeah.
that. And then as far as for your like comfort foods and stuff, what do you like?
Oh, I love cheeseburgers,
Guilty pleasure.
pizza.
All
Yeah.
of it.
Anything warm and cheesy.
Yeah.
Take it.
And I think it's important for people to know that you can be health centered and still enjoy those types of foods.
Absolutely. And then we make our own bread at home. That
Yes.
when I turned 41, my husband got me a grain mill. I'm like, we're living
nice.
the best life.
What are you,
right?
Little House on the Prairie?
I know. He's like, what are we doing?
It's like getting a bowling ball with
Exactly.
his grip drilled
But
into
we
it.
use like the einkorn, so
Yes.
really like not giving up. I like bread.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'll just try the best version of it.
Exactly.
And you know the ingredients, and you know the love that went into it, and that's
And then
a
my kids will be
completely
like,
different
well,
product.
the problem with kids is like you make that stuff for them, they're like, this is amazing. And if you go out to eat, they're like, this is trash.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I'm not eating.
okay.
What a blessing
What
that
have
they
I
know the
created?
difference, right?
It's so good for them
Awareness.
to identify.
Yeah.
I use a grain company out of Minnesota called Sunrise Mill, and it's all heritage grain.
Okay.
And some of it can be grain that you mill yourself,
Yeah.
but some of it is already done. And so for clients that I've been working with, I love for them to be able to have sourdough bread once a day if they want to. It satisfies them. I mean, it's the bread of life, right?
Right.
But they don't have issues if they're gluten sensitive. Going back to what grain used to be is not glyphosate poisoned, and they can eat it without a challenge. So I love being able to offer that to them and tell them it is guilt free.
Yep.
You know,
I mean, and a lot of people just don't know about it.
They
It's like,
don't.
we don't know how to like we make bread.
Yeah.
Bread comes in a wrapper.
Seems really difficult.
No,
Yeah.
It's really actually not.
Like
and
4
it's
ingredients.
fine.
in
If
your-
I can do it,
Yeah. I mean,
Anybody
literally,
can
it's
do it.
4 ingredients. Do you do sourdough or do
Yeah.
you do, okay. Yeah.
So I've done sourdough. So einkorn is a little bit different, but you know, whatever.
But it's also a really great grain. Yeah.
Yes, especially when you can mill it yourself.
Yes.
And then my husband was like, "Well, they said you're supposed to soak it and then do." I'm like, "I can't."
Bro, you do the soaking.
Yeah, I'm like, I know that I'm a homeschool mom now, and
Right.
I am at home, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a
No.
funny thing.
No, I mean,
well,
you're
we
already
schooled
busy.
our kids at home as well, start to finish. And people used to think, she had all this free time on her hands
Oh my
because she's
gosh.
like homeschool mom. And they have no idea what goes into the day of
No.
a person who's serving other people.
It's
It's a
not,
big deal.
It's not easy.
But there's some, I mean, it was very rewarding for the girls to go through the homeschool process and find their path that they are
They're all killing
so
it.
good at.
And it's just fun to be able to see how your kid thrive. Like how
Also
does your kid
different.
learn? What are they interested in? And then making shifts or adding things because of that.
Yep.
I mean, when the kids were in school, I didn't know that.
Right.
Don't know. No, you don't really know what they're being exposed to, and a lot of times what they're learning, how they're learning, if they're challenged, because when they come home at the end of the day, they're exhausted.
They're tired.
They
What'd
don't
you
want to
learn?
talk about
Nothing.
it.
And then they got to do homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like
if
you had them
know
for
about
6
it.
hours and you're sending them home with 3 more hours.
Yeah.
I think teachers are among the most stressed out people we serve.
I don't
probably say the
honestly.
same
I don't know how they do it.
I don't either.
I have 2
It is
kids that I
heroic.
feel like are very well behaved children, and I'm like, if I had 28
I can't imagine.
that were asking me questions,
Yeah.
I would be like, let's just move on, you guys.
Yeah.
Teachers and single moms are like the heroes of the century. To
They
me.
are, and that's why I love teachers, and that's why I wanted to bring that program in there because I
Yes.
want them to feel like people care about you. Your nervous system is also important, and it affects how
Your vibe affects your tribe.
exactly.
Yep.
So Jenna, how is it just in Xenia that you're doing this program? Is it a pilot program that you're working on to maybe take to other schools?
Well, I have it, so it's accredited through like
Okay.
OCRA, so the
Okay.
Ohio Credit. I don't know, fill in the words. I
Okay.
don't know. But basically, the public schools can get CEUs for their teachers.
Okay,
through
got it.
that through the professional development that I created. So now I'll be in another preschool in August. So if anybody's listening to this and they're interested, contact me because we can
Okay.
get it in there. Because I think it's I keep it very simple, but everyone, like all the teachers, the feedback was everybody need like every preschool teacher needs to. Well, all teachers need to hear this, but I focus in on like 3 to 6,
Yeah.
or preschool to kindergarten because that's
The most formative brain years.
yes. That's when all
Start
the goodness is happening. So I'm like,
early
let's
as
get in there
possible.
and do all this
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
That's incredible. And did you say it was a 6-week program?
So then that was the empowered educators. So
Okay.
actually that's getting hopefully accredited
Okay. Oh, got it.
soon.
Nice.
But that was a pilot program.
Okay.
And I would like to bring that to more educators.
Okay.
Or, really any group. You can change it
Yep.
for any work group. And
Right.
I'm sure you guys know this. The energy can shift.
Oh, yeah.
It affects how we show up and how we treat our clients or students or whoever.
Absolutely. Especially when you have a lot of people coming and going from places, they
They're
drop
dragging
their
in their
energy
stuff.
and
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
true. It's like that one bad apple.
and
you're like,
leaves a
okay.
taste in your mouth. Yeah, it does.
oh my gosh, this has been so fun. I think we covered all of the things that you had put in your intake.
Thank you for having me. This has
You're
been a lot of
welcome.
fun.
Is there anything else that you can think of that we didn't touch on that you'd like to?
I don't think so. I
Share?
think we got all of it.
I think we got all of it.
We
you
did.
are an amazing human.
Thank you for having me. This was
really are.
such a pleasure to meet you guys.
It'll be fun.
I've heard about you guys through other people, so I'm like happy to see you in person.
know, this is really fun.
I'm excited
right.
for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, you guys, if you like what you've seen today, please follow, subscribe, and like.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Talk to you later.
See you next
Bye.
time. Yeah, that's awesome. That'll be great.
Jenna,
There'll be
that
a
was
lot of people that win with that.
amazing.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so fun.
You did so good. What you're doing is just so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I
Fun.
feel like it's just the beginning. So
I agree.